Hi everyone, welcome back to RainbowToastStudios. My name is Rainbow, and okay, I was just circling that. We are we are making this zoo up in the northeastern US, probably like Maine or something. A little bit unusual because we will have a lot of animals from the Pacific Ocean and warmer climate animals. But anyways, this is my planning out of this new zoo that I'm working on, and this zoo is basically going to be my version of SeaWorld. And I'm doing something a little bit different with this because normally how I would start it is I would make one animal enclosure and a food court and then open that up and then start working on my zoo progressively over time. Even in unlimited mode. That's what I'm doing in my other speed build. And so what we are doing here is I just wanted to plan out everything at once and just have it totally built when I open it, and then we'll do one massive tour at the end and it'll be great and fun. And so what we're starting out with is we're working with this diamond because that's actually what I wanted to do in the first place. I want to have a little guest hub in the beginning, and I am not placing that gift shop. I just wanted to use it for scale because I do plan on having a gift shop, but you'll see I'm not placing anything today. I'm just planning everything out. So like I do put in a couple necessary things for sizing aquariums, but besides that, I'm not putting anything in. Except for a bathroom later too, but you'll see why. And I wanted to ditch this down so that when people come in, they don't like see for miles around what everything is going to be. You have to look at the map, pick a direction, and that's all you're gonna see. And over here, we're gonna have like little guest hub amenities, no food court or anything like that. I don't like starting out with a food court. Y'all know this. Normally I have an animal and then a food court because that's really where they need it. And so we are continuing with the use of the three large sidewalk, which has worked out really well for us. You'll know that I only recently started doing that because normally I would use 2, but it's been really useful to do 3. So we did that all the way around. Okay, I'll explain that in a second. So 3 is a little bit more useful, and we did that all the way around the guest hub. And the problem though is that since the entrance is too wide, I had to do 4 wide on the other side and then just threw that bathroom in so that I would have a way to kind of make sense cutting it off, because otherwise it just had like this weird bit. I was just like going, forget that it was 4, it's 3 now. So yeah, skipped part of that because I regret putting it on that side, the like little auditorium that I built up, because I didn't want to waste that one space in the back, because as you know, an aquarium cannot go right up to the outer fence. So I wanted to be able to utilize that space, but it's not worth it. It's not, because now I have a massive tank, because it's not like I can make the sidewalk just go around the sides here, because I need the sides to connect to the normal living enclosures of the show animals. So I end up having this huge space that guests have to walk around, and I try to get around it with like a single pathway over the tank, but I know what's going to happen is that the people are going to glitch into the enclosure, into the tank, which I don't want, obviously. So I think I'm just going to spend some time in the next video switching it around and moving stuff closer to the wall and just deal with that lack of that one space in the back. And we'll have everything closer to the wall, which is going to save space in the end, because with this way I end up having like a weird like 5 space that we're not doing much with, like the space of the auditorium all the way across. We don't really have anything for. And I mean, I would make it work with like little food courts and guest amenities and stuff, but I'd rather just have more space for aquariums and such, which I don't really have in that 5 space. And also I wanted to say that for starting off this zoo, because I'm planning everything off at once, I kind of needed something to ground the whole thing, which is why I'm starting with the auditorium, because I know I definitely want a Shamu show, and I wanted that to be directly opposite the entrance, all the way in the back. So as you saw, I just took the sidewalk, went all the way across, and this is where we are making our auditorium. I periodically use animals for scale, but also used the training area earlier, since that gives me somewhat of an idea of how big I will need it for props, even though I know it's not a prop itself. It's kind of like a little bit larger than a prop, and we will use that for scale because we need a good number of props. And also, as someone pointed out in my marine update my marine show with me, we should give them more space than is necessary so that they don't glitch too much. It's really hot in my house, sorry. Oh, I actually did this before. I should probably mention that. I built this. I planned even more of it out than I planned in this video, but I was using a large zoo. I thought that would be necessary, but it was not. Yeah, that was a mistake, and I kind of wasted some time doing that because I suddenly had no idea how I would fill all of that space, because I have a particular list of things I want to include in my version of SeaWorld, and it's just not enough for a large zoo, unfortunately. Like, I could think of things to add. I could add like every marine animal there is, but I'd rather not. I have a particular vision for this zoo, and a large zoo was not necessary for that. And this is only part 1 of my planning, so I spent like an hour and a half on everything you see here, and I had to stop. Can't spend like 4 hours in one day on doing it, so I'll have part 2 up eventually, and that is where I will hopefully finish planning, and then I can start putting animals in. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that part, because you know normally I would have 1 episode for 1 enclosure, but since we are building the groundwork right now, I'm not sure. Whatever, I'll probably just record an hour and use that, whatever that entails. I skipped the part where I did the groundwork. I will include the groundwork in the next video that I do redoing it. But, you know, I showed the building of the aquariums because I am not going to show that in the next one, probably, or I'll show it very quickly. In the other one that I built that was a mistake, I learned from a lot of mistakes there, actually, which is great, because so I really wanted my show animals, like especially my dolphins. I wanted my dolphins to have a very cool terrained exhibit, so I didn't want it to be an actual aquarium. I just wanted to, you know, make like a hybrid thing to where I just kind of use deep water and tank walls, because I wanted to have hills and stuff and like little spikies. But it didn't work out because you can't connect a tank portal to something that is not a tank, even though I can do a tank wall. So I ended up having this thing where I just had like a separate tank for like my 1 show animal, and then a tank for the pod that is my regular live-in tank, and it wasn't working at all. So I gave it up for the dolphins. We're gonna have just a regular aquarium, and I'm probably going to put in like one of those rock shelters, like 1 or 2 of those, just to make it look like it's a kind of cool coastal exhibit, even though they don't need it, obviously. And then my otters in the corner are definitely going to be a hybrid thing, because I mean they need the land anyways, and I want to do it. I want to have cliffies and such, and dress it up. I love doing it. I like having my cool hybrid enclosures for pretty much any marine animal, but like especially sea lions and otters. I wanted a show for sea lions, but you know, that's the trade-off. Sea lion shows are like such a staple for SeaWorld, but I just didn't see a way. I would have to have one sea lion that's separate, in their own tank, separate from the family, to have them have access to it, or like physically switch it tanks, but I don't know if that would work, and that would be really annoying. And yeah, no, too much. And for a lot of these, I wanted underwater and top viewing, obviously, because that's so fun. And I'll definitely have to rearrange terrain a bit, but I will also have to anyways when I'm doing the hybrid stuff, like putting cliffs in and everything. So the terrain here is not exactly how it's going to be, and I might move the tanks around a little bit, but this is the general idea. Everything that I'm putting in is just like the general idea of where I want things to be, how I'm spacing it out, and I might like take some and give some here and there to the different tanks. And this is, I wanted to do an indoor manatee building because SeaWorld Orlando has a little indoor manatee building that I always really liked. They have like a little theater included in it that tells you the story of manatees and how they're really endangered and all that. And I don't think they are anymore, which is great. Manatees. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in Florida, and we love manatees. Manatees are apparently not really known to the rest of the world because they're like pretty specifically Florida, and they are the last of their what is it, like phylum, I guess, like their relatives, the last of their relatives and their family. There used to be a lot of them. Now there are not. There are just the West Indian manatees, I think. I could sort of be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they are the last ones. And they are very unique little sea cow animals, and I love them. And this is going to be their building. I put in that little walkway just to show, like, I am covering this. It is a building. I love doing buildings. But I wish they had in the base game or a pack more walls and ways to make buildings. I know there are definitely like mods and custom content for it, but y'all know I am a traditionalist. It's just like, hey developers, hi, love your work, but if we could just get some freaking walls and ways to build buildings, that would be great. So great. But also if you could just give us more options for buildings, also great. Like really, if they could just take a lot of what was in Zoo Tycoon 1, like the aviaries and cool stuff like that, and especially the dolphin riding thing where you just drop it into a freaking lake and then you can ride dolphins. That was cool. As you can see, I'm very excited about it. If I can get that in the World of Zoo thing that's coming out, that would be great. Probably not. I get 4 people watching my stuff. I wanted to dip down the theater. Look, I spent so much time on it, but it wasn't working. It's fine. I just wanted it to look like a cool dip down amphitheater, but my actors will not have a theater that special, I guess. I was just thinking, like, I have to include some kind of theater because, you know, there's theaters like the Pets Ahoy Theater and stuff like that at SeaWorld. So this is just a little mascot stage, and I'm calling it a theater, and that's what we will have as far as live entertainment. And I will want to close this off a little bit. I want to close off more of the stuff, put some more like foliage throughout, stuff like that, and make it look pretty and kind of vary the terrain and stuff like that. And yeah, so that is the end for today. That is my planning for my SeaWorld. And here at the end, I was thinking of what I want to call this, because for a while I was thinking I'll just call it SeaWorld, but building SeaWorld in Zoo Tycoon, I mean, it sounded nice, but also, like, I don't want people who hate SeaWorld to come at me. I don't want to open up that can of worms, guys. Don't come at me. But also, like, I don't know, branding and issues like that. So I want to call it my own thing. So not SeaWorld and not Marineland, because that is the Canadian version. But I want something like it and, like, maybe kind of punny. So I'm thinking of a few different options, and y'all can let me know in the comments, because I love opening this up to you guys. So I'm thinking, like, I could do Ocean Planet, because it's so, like, out there. Like, planet doesn't really work for it, but I like it. Ocean Planet, World of Oceans, World of Seas, which is just SeaWorld, but, like, backwards. I feel like I thought of another thing, but I'm forgetting it right now, but it's fine. So if y'all think of anything else, or you have a vote for any of the ones that I listed, or you think Ocean Planet, yeah, or if you think Ocean Planet is fine, that's the one I'm leaning towards, let me know, and we will build this fabulous version of SeaWorld together. I think I want to tell y'all a little bit of my future plans also. I'm making this real long at the end, but if I have space, so I definitely want a shark thing, a shark building, and that will take up a good amount of space, because I want at least 3 major sharks and probably, like, a big reef enclosure. I don't know if I will have the reef enclosure included in the shark thing. I want to, but it's going to be huge, so I don't know if I should. I'm not going to have whale sharks, because that one is not really true to life and gigantic, even though I think we would have the space for it technically, because after I finished, I don't know if y'all saw, I still had a pretty good amount of space. I do want to have a penguin house for sure. I'm not sure if I laid that out this time. I don't think I did. And let me look at my list. I got a lot of what I wanted, and I want, like, a playground area for sure. SeaWorld has a giant playground thing. My sister got lost in it once. That was great. It was great because there was no way for adults to easily get up there, so my dad had to climb the whole thing. Story for another time. And then if I have room, I want to put in an African river safari that has, like, crocodiles and, well, I guess they would be, I don't think we have crocodiles. I think it's just alligators. So it'll be alligators, and we'll pretend they're crocodiles and hippos, and then, like, flamingos and stuff like that, whatever. So that's what I'm thinking. If you have any suggestions, I will, of course, consider them. Check out my other videos. Check out my Zoo Tycoon 2 campaign, and we can get to know each other. Let me know what you're thinking as far as the name of our zoo, and I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Hey there, it's your girl Rainbow. I'd really appreciate a like or checking out my other videos. Bye.